So it's clear that under any global warming scenario from now on, we will need to adapt to protect people and the habitats on our Earth from the impacts of climate change that are now inevitable. This will mean changing many things about the way that we live, where we live, what we build from, how we construct. What's really critical is that we do this in a way that's just and includes the most vulnerable populations in our adaptation measures, because those will be hardest hit by climate change. Cities and urban areas currently house over half of humanity, and by 2070 will house nearly 70% of the world's population. Really critically, some cities and urban areas are really highly exposed to climate impacts. They may be along coastlines, for example, that are vulnerable to sea level rise, but they also house large numbers of vulnerable populations. So an estimated 1 in 7 of the world's population lives in what are called informal settlements, where people lack access to formal housings and other services and infrastructure that will help protect them from climate change. People in these areas do experience multiple direct and indirect forms of violence, both from the state as well as interpersonal violences such as crime, theft, eviction, landlord-tenant conflicts. So in making these films about our research projects, we deliberately chose the term fragility to denote something about the institutional relationship that people have in highly vulnerable areas, and in particular areas where states are unwilling or unable to invest in basic service and infrastructure that we know is necessary for adaptation. We know that fragility is increasing and that non-conflict violence is increasingly urbanised. So when we think about adaptation and resilience building, we really have to take that into account and think not only about the infrastructures and technologies we need, but how in the long term we create inclusive institutions in these communities.